Estate investment is one of the fastest ways to build wealth when you know what you're doing. There is potential in owning and managing single family units, and there's even greater potential in owning and managing multiple family units. Now, what we can do is to provide you with the access to capital to purchase your single family unit or to purchase your multiple family unit. But just before I get deeper into the access to capital and what we can do, permit me to walk you through some of the steps of what real estate investment looks like. At the very top, you have searching for the ideal property to buy. And the ideal property to buy may be property that is below market value that you can purchase. Why? Because you're able to purchase that with equity already existing in that portfolio. Now, once you purchase, you may have the rehab. And what rehab does, it immediately forces the value of that estate up. Now, here it is. We can fund 100% of the purchasing price of that single family unit or multiple family unit that you may be looking for. Along with that, our team can also fund 100% of the rehab cost. So there's no longer any need for you to procrastinate. And when it comes to positioning yourself to build wealth, because with our ecosystem, we're going to provide you with the blueprint. We're going to provide you with the mentorship, the coaching, and the support to make better, smarter, wiser decisions when you're positioning yourself to build wealth. So let's look back at this. The first stage is to identify the ideal property that you want to invest in. Second is to look at rehabbing because rehabbing forces the appreciation up, which gives you more equity. And equity is something that you can leverage. Now, the third step here is that you want to find a renter. Now, you can find a renter by simply running your ads, or there are many other ways in which you could look at finding renters for your property. For example, you can have a single family unit or a multiple family unit, and you are renting it out Section A. So what Section A does for you, it ensures that you have guaranteed rent for a long period of time, and you don't have all the stress associated with renting the average person. Now, when you come into our masterclass, we're going to go deeper into this. That in of itself removes the risk associated with buying and owning a cash flowing asset. Now, once you would have buy, you would have renovate, and you have a reliable tenant occupying that cash flowing asset, you now have to look at refinancing. Now, by refinancing the debt, it means that whatever money you put in or the equity that exists in that estate, you can now take it on back through the refinancing process. Now, the refinancing process has tremendous benefits. For example, you purchase your estate, let's say at $250,000, but you purchase it $100,000 below market value. So you already had $100,000 there in equity. But because of the development, the rehab that you would have done, the rehab would have also forced appreciation by another $75,000. So the equity that you have in the estate now is $175,000. You can now take out that equity and you can now leverage that equity into what we call other income producing assets. So here is where we call you buy, you renovate, you rent, you refinance, and you repeat this process. I want to show you anyone that knows fully well what they're doing in this regard. you can build wealth within 3 to 5 years. All right. You can come to that point where you have financial independence. Now, in our community, we will give you the step by step. We will give you the mentorship, the coaching. We will give you the support to make better, smarter, wiser decisions. I'm coming to the finance part here, but I want to emphasize this. In our community, you're not only being exposed to the training, but you're a part of a community that is going to be working with you to ensure that you understand the nuts and bolts of every moving part when it comes to buying, when it's come to renovating, when it's come to finding the right tenant, when it comes to refinancing, and when it comes to repeating that process. You have a supportive community that is going to be working with you in this regard. Now let's come to the financing. There are multiple financial instruments that we will support you to access. Now, I know many of you might be saying, hey, I love what I'm hearing, but you may not be gainfully employed. Well, we have a financial instrument for you in the event that you are not gainfully employed, but you want to get into this as a means of positioning yourself for financial independence. And just let me give you a hint at this. There's a financial instruments that we call DSCR loan, and that is the debt service ratio. All right, it's a debt service. And let me just explain a little bit more what DSCR represents. The DSCR loan, what they are looking at is the potential of the estate to cash flow. Now, that estate that you are buying, it must be able to cash flow above the PITI. The PITI is what we call the principal and interest, tax, and insurance. If you're going to be buying an investment property, that investment property will be subject to principal, interest, tax, and insurance. So what the debt service coverage ratio loan is going to be looking at is the cash flow potential of this estate must be higher than the PITI, and you must have profit at the end of the day. So there are ways in which you can calculate all of this, and we will have the mentor, for sponsor, the supportive community that's going to be helping you through this process. All right. Now, we are able to put you in contact with multiple DSCR funding agents. All right. Now, DSCR funds may fund up to 85% of the cost of that purchase. And you might be wondering, hey, I have 85%, but where do I get the 15 to 20%? We will work with you with another funding partner that is going to ensure that you get the remaining balance to complete that purchase. In fact, when you come into our community, one of the first things that we're going to be doing is to ensure that you understand the importance of capital, because one of the mistakes that we see most people do, most people wait until they need financing to start thinking about access to capital. In our system, we get prepared to access capital, and we ensure that you get access to capital long before you're ready to make that purchase. All right. So when the opportunity presents itself, you can move fast. All right. Now, in our community, we have multiple financial specialists. We can help you with debt financing, credit financing, equity financing, hard money lending, DSCR loan. You don't have to worry about accessing capital. You now just have to have that desire to want to position yourself to make your financial breakthrough. And our team will be there to work with you, to give you the mentorship, the coaching, the sponsorship, ensure that you're part of a supportive community that is helping you to make better, smarter, wiser decisions. Now, The communities that you're going to be working with is Global Capital Inc., 10X Branding and Marketing LLC, and most recently we have Howard Investors LLC out of New York. I want to assure you that our team, we are so committed to helping you to position yourself for greatness. So there's no need for you to procrastinate because you now have a strong community that is there for you. So I want to encourage you to reach out to us. All right. If you find this content of information interesting, I want to encourage you to reach out to us, book a free consultation so we can start that conversation and get you on your way to attain financial independence within 3 to 5 years. Be blessed and see you on the inside.